from nuts. What?
Hanging from nuts.
Hey, what a great way to start it off. Hanging from nuts. Got it.
Yeah. From the coin.
You're welcome.
It is. It's Wednesday. It's Xbox Nation Day. Always my favorite day of the week. Hump day, all that good stuff. So it's going to be a really good show, and there is a lot of cool stuff to talk about. I had to tear myself away from Forza Horizon 4. That Xbox exclusive, even though Xbox doesn't have any exclusives. Right? I mean, that's what they say, but I don't know, man. I've got like 15 of them pinned on my dashboard. So I digress, though. Like I said, it's going to be a fun show. I'm going to introduce everybody. First off, I'm going to introduce Mooch. What's up,
buddy? No, you're right. There's so many things to play. I think I was tweeting about this earlier, and I kind of want to get into it if we start to talk a little bit about Forza. Is there's so many great games currently that we're playing, and there's so many games coming out in the next 2 days to like 3 weeks. And realistically, it's hard to say you want to play them all. And I think it's easy to say, oh, well, they want all these games to come out in the fall because that's the money-making time. But here's the thing. You've got record-breaking sales, okay? That was earlier in the year with God of War. You've got record-breaking sales with Spider-Man. You've got great sales with Forza Horizon 3, and this game's going to do the same. My point is that, and I think we should talk about it at some point, Crap, if we can kind of nudge it in, is do we have to have all these games come out in 5 weeks? We can clearly see that gamers are buying games at a ridiculously rapid amount all year long. We sit there from June until September 15th with nothing to do.
Yes, they do.
And it's like,
yes, they do. Okay.
They don't.
Yes, they do.
They do not.
Mooch, this is not an intro. I don't know what you're doing.
Yes.
Sorry. Hey, welcome to Xbox Nation, everybody. Let's turn it to Foxy.
Why are you yelling? Yeah.
Why is he yelling?
Why is he yelling? Yeah.
Who's yelling, Crap?
I don't know. People that haven't watched the show before, I guess. So I don't know. But anyway, yeah. So Foxy, how you doing? Welcome back.
Yes, I missed last week. I wish I was here hanging out with you guys. I heard you guys had a great show. I missed some time with Showstopper. I was like, oh man, I should have been there. But
Kicker in the house, man. He was
it was awesome. It was funny. You guys were hilarious. But no, I've been doing good. Driving to the left, driving to the right, driving through fields. It's amazing. I love it.
It is. It's such an amazing game. We also got joining us again. Guesting is XBot39472 aimbot, Destiny bot.
There we go.
Yes. You change your name a lot.
I fully support mouse and keyboard, so I am aimbot. And what's going on, everybody in the chat? Wednesday is here, Xbox Nation. Thank you again, Crap. I always love coming on here, talking to the panel. We're all friends on Xbox Live, so it's just a natural thing, man.
Oh, Elemental Pino says games with a service plan last. No.
What?
You might want to clarify that question. Butcher Van, Xbox Nation making America great again. No denying that, my friend. No denying that.
Yo, I gotta say, shout out to Butcher, man. He is a huge part of this gaming community, and his giveaways on Twitter are
honestly, shout out to Van real quick, because Van is a good dude, and his giveaways are always reliable. He also has a realistic time frame. He's like, hey, he announces on Monday that he's having a giveaway, and the giveaway is like Thursday the same week. Sometimes I get excited. I see people doing I'm doing a giveaway, and I'm giving it away in September of 2020, and I'm like, let me set my reminder. So shout out to Van. Great new logo you got there, Van.
Yes.
And Van, by the way, I just DM'd you directions to Crossfire for Friday night.
Yobi with a 10. He says, peace, love, life. Exactly. I was talking to him last night, man. He's a big wrestling fan, too. So, obviously we were hitting it off there, man. He was actually at SmackDown last night. So that's cool stuff.
Also, in the chat.
Yeah, man, there's what's up, everybody? Hit that like button. We're going to get started. We got one more introduction. He promised he'd come on the show if we hit 300 likes before we went off air last week. We did. Here he is. Kiss that ring. Mud Trucks, the Don.
Oh, man, there have been so many demands for Mud Trucks. I may have to Forza down.
They're coming out with a sequel, man.
Yeah, it gets a sequel. I mean, it's a successful title.
No.
It did. I saw you post that. I was like, hell yeah, man. Now that's even more. But I think, didn't Showstopper win the last gameplay?
His gameplay will be on this Saturday. Again, with the cool kind of like graphics and everything like that. And I got to say, you know, crap. I love kind of like your hype for mud trucks. It is my own personal hell though, because when he does that gameplay and gives it to me, I have to watch it like 3 or 4 times with doing the processing and stuff like that. So I don't know. Maybe I can shift off all that work to you, crap. You want to do that for me,
That's
man?
why you mesmerized. That's why you keep watching.
Yeah, he loves it, man. But hey, welcome back to the show. Always good to have you here. And welcome to everybody, man. New avatars coming to Xbox One. It looks like they announced them for October. We are now in October.
We don't know which year.
Yes, October. It's sort of like Sony's deal where they're like, yeah, within the next year at PSX, you know, we're going to announce that you're going to be able to change your PSN name. And then a year comes by and they're like, oh, man, we still don't have that. Cancel PSX. That's a no on PSX.
Cancel the show.
That. Cancel the show. Cancel the show. They're going to call us out, which honestly, nobody would have called them out. Come on, they're Sony, right? They can do no wrong except with their terrible movies.
Well, this is why having no PSX this year is a genius idea.
It is. We saw those articles, and not only that,
Brilliant.
but how about that Venom, huh? I called that trash a long time ago, and it's getting terrible reviews. It looked bad. And if I were Marvel, I'd offer Sony a bunch of money to get all their properties, and just, you know, because that's going to look bad on the people are going to just assume that that's like a Marvel movie, and it's not.
Well, in terms of Sony, in terms of movies, let's be real here. They need that Spider-Man. Like they're holding on to the Spider-Man name for dear life right now. Like the Spider-Man movie did great. Like when you leave Sony by themselves to make a movie and you don't have people from the MCU kind of like overseeing it, that's when you get what you're seeing with Venom. When you let somebody else take control and they just put Sony on the bottom of that, that's what you see with like Spider-Man Homecoming. You see the difference there?
Yeah, exactly. You know what? I 100% agree with you. I think that's cool stuff. You know what? I kind of wanted to talk about, we might as well just start with, you know, what was really kind of interesting today, what I saw on Twitter was this face-off between the Xbox One X version of Assassin's Creed Odyssey versus the PS4 Pro version. And there was obviously, you know, screenshots and things like that. What really surprised me was you had the PS4 Pro version dipping down to 1080p, right? While the Xbox One X version was like native 4K and it would go down somewhat, but the PS4 Pro just really didn't look like, and not only was it dropping down all the way to 1080p, which is a huge difference. Like I can remember back a few years ago, 900p to 1080p was like the biggest deal in the world.
Right.
Extra grass was the biggest deal in the world. You can look up Grassgate and it'll pop up.
It's interesting, crap, because you know I saw what you were tweeting about, and
the textures just looked horrible on the PS4 Pro version.
Yeah, they did, and I mean I was kind of referring more to the people that were like, why are we making a big deal about this? And I'm like, you know, it's one of those things where it's okay. You could sit there and say, okay, it's petty to say it, but we said this thing 3-4 years ago, when they were literally saying that you should probably look into the Dark Souls 3 version on PlayStation because the jaggy edges on the shadow of your character look a little false on the Xbox version. And I'm sitting there and I'm saying to myself, you know, I'm like, that has nothing to do with the game, right? Yeah. And now we sit here and there's truly a difference in some of the characteristics when you're sitting there looking.
Besides drop,
right?
Resolution.
And now people are like, let's not look at that. Let's look at something else. And you're like, well, wait a minute. You're the ones that told me to look at that.
I got to pay some bills real quick. Elemento Pino says games with the service plans definitely add more longevity during lulls in the year. Destiny, Sea of Thieves, Forza 4 seasons. Yeah.
Yep.
You know, people look at games as a service as a bad word. Or bad words, and it's not really. It's just a certain way that people do things now. And you look at, I guess, even Assassin's Creed Odyssey, they're saying is more kind of a games as a service type deal. So, people that are against that just don't know what they're talking about. Gadang says, I'm listening to y'all while playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Can't stop playing it. I'm hearing great things. And I mooched a copy.
I can't believe how many people, and I'm grateful. Shout out to Yobi. Grateful for being able to mooch the copy of Odyssey. But let me tell you something. I can't believe how many people paid the $100 to get the early access. Like, there's a lot of people playing that game right now, crap. Okay. And I mean, I'm amazed because, like, that's something with Forza and first party. You get these allegiance, people that really like these games have been playing them for over and over and over again. And Assassin's Creed maybe has that right too. I was a little taken back because do they offer this for Origins? The early access?
I don't know if they offered the early access or not, but I do know that that is becoming more and more popular. Like, because, and I wanted to talk about this as well, and we can a little bit later. Forza Horizon 4 was #1 on the top paid games list 4 days before the game even released.
Oh my god, yeah, my friend list. Everybody was playing Forza, and I was like, oh, damn, I have to wait till Tuesday. Damn. Yeah,
exactly. So, I mean, I know it's going to do well, and obviously a lot of people are going to wait for Game Pass or wait for the regular edition. $100 for the Ultimate was a steal for me because I always get that anyway, and it never comes with the expansions. This one actually comes with the expansions, and to see it #1,
about time.
Yes, before it even goes for the $100 version, that means like people were buying this version, and they see everybody like I was tweeting out screenshots, and everybody's like, "Man, I really want to get it. I really want to get it." And to see that level of success is really great and welcome because this game is above all my expectations for Forza Horizon 4. You're like, what more can they do? What more can they do after 3? And here they did and went above and beyond. But kind of to get back to the Assassin's Creed thing. So it wasn't just the textures on that, but the lighting looked bad and just the game doesn't look up to par for a pro version of a game. Like this divide between the X and the Pro is getting bigger and bigger. You know, because I can remember when the Xbox One, the fat original one, was coming out with games, a few were 720p, right? And people were like, that's just going to get bigger and bigger and wider, and we're going to see worse games, probably games running at 500p on the Xbox One. Like all those like people that are basically want to be developers, you know, they don't know anything about it. And they were saying that. Turns out it was like only a handful of games that, you know, it was like 12, 13, 14 games that were ever 720p. Microsoft really worked hard to get the Xbox One up to snuff, and it was never that big of a deal. You know, 30% pixel difference between 900p and 1080p, where we're seeing 50, 70, 100% pixel difference right now, and people are saying no big deal.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm with you. I mean, you know, realistically, you make a hell of a point. I mean, it's funny as you were kind of going through that little history of this generation crap. You know that favorite GIF you have of that dude that's at like one of those Ricky Lake shows, and then he's like falling asleep, and then he's
and then he wakes up. Yeah,
that's how I kind of picture how Microsoft looked like in 2013. Like imagine just me and you sitting there, and you turn to me and you're like, Mooch, listen, I want to have this box come out, and I want to hit 720p. I'd be like, aren't we doing that right now on the 360? You know what I mean? Like, so, I mean, like, but you're making a good point. And realistically, here we are with this ridiculous difference now in textures and lighting. And some of these games are coming out with high settings or ultra settings that the PC's putting out on something similar to like a 1080 Ti. That's amazing. That's amazing stuff. And it's listen, people go, well, Mooch, it's being reported by the media to a certain degree, because here's the thing. Is Digital Foundry reporting on it? Yes.
Yeah.
Are they reporting on it like they did from 2013 to 2017? No. Absolutely not. There was 16 different analyzed videos getting down to the crevice of the sketch of a shadow of your warrior in a game that differential between, and you can clearly see here that we have a rounded edged kind of shadow on the PS4 version. And for some reason there's jaggies. There's jaggies there's people who name their avatar jaggies after all that nonsense. Jaggies became a word in 2013.
Not only was that a thing, but all the websites would have ran with that as the news. 900p beta for Destiny on Xbox One. That's a legit thing from GameSpot. Yeah. You got Destin holding the 900p 1080p thing. Yeah. All the sites.
Oh, it was years.
Yes. You can look up Grassgate and you'll see that it's a GTA 5 thing. It's a real thing. Like people really thought it was a big deal. Like it's all over because there's more grass on this particular scene on PS4, and I thought it was a joke. So when I bring up stuff like this, when it's obvious that the Xbox One X version not only looks better, but looks like 2 times as good, right?
You know, crap. I'm gonna take a different swing. I'm gonna go a different direction off of it. Isn't it great that we're not hearing this stuff anymore, though? Like, to me, it seems like once Xbox came out with the more powerful hardware, all of a sudden the resolution and stuff like that became a non-factor in big gaming media, even out there in Twitter and stuff like that. And I gotta say, like, to me, it's a breath of fresh air that, you know, every time I turn around, I don't see something about resolution or something like that. But yo, check this out. But hold on, Mooch. All I gotta say is, it seems like to have that narrative go away, and I think Microsoft and Xbox are going to do this. They need to have the power crown going into the next series of hardware and beyond. And I think they're going to do that. And I think I'm going to take this as a great day for me as an Xbox owner, knowing that when I hit my computer, I'm not seeing anything about resolution or anything like that anymore. It's a non-factor now, guys, because Xbox has the most powerful hardware. And you can see the Pro is kind of it's slacking behind a little bit, you know.
Well behind. Like, Don, what is your thoughts on this? Are you seeing the screenshots and the comparisons? Elementapino real quick says Sony exclusives get panned for fidelity because there's nothing to compare to. Okay.
What's panned mean?
Panned usually means you criticized.
Okay. I never heard that like used like that. I thought somebody like hit somebody over the head with a frying pan.
Yeah, I mean that's happened to me before.
PUBG boy, get out of here.
Exactly. Don, you're a developer, so clue us in here. What's up? Is it just horsepower, lazy devs? Let us know. Yeah.
Well, you're referring to the PS4, or are you referring to
the PS4 Pro? I mean, it's a huge difference between these two versions of the same game.
I think just hardware.
I mean, you gotta to understand what's going on. You kind of always have to look a little bit in the past. So, when these PlayStation 1, PlayStation 4 both launched, PlayStation 4 dev kit was ready to go. Xbox wasn't. So you weren't squeezing as much as you could out of the system. You weren't going to write your own assembly language because they knew they're going to update the API. So developers were just kind of waiting off. Now that you fast forward to today, basically the same generic basic API that runs PS4 runs the Pro. It really hasn't improved a ton. And then you look on the Xbox side of things, the API is totally changed. You have a dev kit that makes it easier for both systems. So you're seeing benefits across both ends. PC is actually a big part of it too. That whole like, hey, you know what? Your game can be developed on DX12 on your PC. You're going to see advantages there. That helps negotiate with the developers and say, maybe you should start with DX12 as an API instead of like an OpenGL and then convert to what PlayStation's doing. So you're seeing a lot of that. And then just kind of in general, how the PlayStation 4 was designed, the Pro was designed in general. It's kind of like taking two graphics cards and trying to get 100% utilization out of both graphics cards in your PC. If anyone knows about the PC world, that doesn't really happen a whole lot. And that's kind of how the architecture is in the Pro. On the GPU side of things, it's literally almost equivalent to them taking two PS4 GPUs and then putting it in an APU essentially and calling it a day. And the results are what the results are. I think this is what concerns me if we do forwards and backwards compatibility and PlayStation does go down that route. Are they prepared to go down that route? And yeah. It raises questions in regards to because right now as an Xbox owner or a PlayStation owner, if you own both consoles, you look at these sort of differences and you go, okay, where am I going to invest? Because now it's not just investing in a game for whatever the 6 months. Sometimes it's now years. Sometimes, hey, I'm going to get this game down the road and I may not get to it. It's just in my backlog, but want to pick it up because it's on sale. You start thinking about that, like how these two companies have handled these iterations and how they're drastically different from one another. It is going to start playing into the consumer base of what they're going to end up buying, I would imagine.
Well, that being said, Don, I know you were in the chat last week, and I mean, Showstopper had an awesome discussion. Like at this point in time, okay, I'm well aware that Microsoft is probably ahead of the game as far as cloud and this whole forward and backward thing, and they've been very vocal about it. So we know Microsoft has been pretty transparent. Sony hasn't. But, the old Mooch would have said a little bit more along the lines of, Sony's not prepared. They're not going to be able to do this.
I don't think
because
they
of
are,
the things
to
that
be really honest with you, man.
We know because you chimed in last week, Xbot. It'd be
I chime in all the time.
That was great. But I mean, no, and that's good. No, and Xbot, I don't blame Xbot for saying that. To be honest with you, he's got a right to his opinion, and I think some of his opinion holds water. But realistically, going back to what Don just said a few moments ago, is that some of these games aren't just coming out now and then over with now. Some of these games have longevity. Some of them are games as a service. I find it very hard to believe, Don, that Sony won't be able to. I believe they're going to offer forward and backward compatibility as well. And I think that the consoles are going to be very close.
I think the whole 2021 rumor now that's floating around.
Yeah.
I think that may have to play into this conversation, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because, and it really reinforces what Bot's saying. It reinforces what the rumors of what Sony has been saying and what you're saying is they need to get prepared.
Right.
And if you just kind of look at, and obviously we're looking from the outside in because there's internal things going on there that we're just not privileged to. But the harsh reality, I mean, you asked me 2020, if whatever they're going to be doing as far as the API is going to be ready.
Yeah.
Go across all those different platforms. I don't think they're going to be ready. No. That's just kind of my impression as far as all that stuff goes.
So you're saying, Mike, here's this. We've kind of broken it into a fork in the road here. So there's two different questions now. The original question was very top level. It was just, are both of these next generation consoles going to have forward and backward compatibility? I say yes. What you're saying is Microsoft will have theirs formidably in 2020, and Sony will have theirs in 2021. That I'll buy. I'll totally buy into that. But my point is that Sony will not release a console until they can afford to have forward and backward compatibility.
I will go out further on that limb. If for some rhyme or reason Sony and PlayStation, they don't come out with the PS5 in the same year, 2020, then what they had to do, they had to push it till 2021. That's
possible, Xbot.
Get everything correct. There would be no other rhyme or reason for them to do so.
Agreed. And here's the thing. Because we're in a certain situation right now, okay? We are in a certain situation. Let's just call a spade. And Don, you fill in the blanks here, okay? Because I'm not going to pretend to fill in all these blanks.
Okay.
But with Scarlet coming out, you've been very vocal on many shows, one being Crossfire, this one here. You've said, and probably next as well, you said that that the next generation Scarlet, don't expect all games to be 4K 60.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that being said, if we're going to get higher textures, lighting, and you fill in the blanks, 4K 30, beautiful games on the Scarlet. If Sony pushes to 2021, they're not really in danger of losing too much to Microsoft at that point.
I think it's 360 era all over again if that happens, man.
Xbot, I'd love to swim in the pool you're in, but it's not going to work out that way because you've got such an install base over there. If the games are still playable on the PS4 Pro, they're going to be able to move that forward and play all the multi-plat games. Yes, you won't be able to play them at the fidelity that you will on the Xbox One Scarlet, but that install base may not feel like they're being slighted.
Brother. Hold on.
I don't think that's it's not as detrimental. You got to remember something. Here's why your 360 theory is wrong, Xbot, and then I'll turn it over to you. In the 360 era, okay, if you had a 360 and you weren't going to make the leap to the one, you were not playing the games we were playing. Flat out. Period. Done. End the story. You're just not. You're not. Nowadays, that's not the case anymore with x86 architecture and other reasons. Okay, so if you're a diehard Sony guy and you can still play, Assassin's Creed again, we'll call it, okay, and that comes out and it's on the Scarlet at 4K 30, right? Looking unbelievable, absolutely marvelous, as the great Billy Crystal would say. Marvelous, okay? It's looking marvelous. Okay, and then you have the PS4 Pro and it's looking maybe semi-marvelous, right? It's at 1440p 30. Here's my thing. You're right. I'm not saying that Sony guys might not jump ship to come and get those textures and that lighting effect, but ultimately it's not the same detrimental
but see,
dead end that you were in last generation.
When it comes to this, we're not talking about diehard PlayStation guys, they're gonna sit there, whether it's 2020, 2021, 2025, 2030, they're gonna sit there and wait for that console, and they're gonna play whatever they have.
That's right.
But in terms of when people are talking about how many consoles are out there, the PS4, it got a hold of that casual gamer, that casual consumer, and that's where you saw all the numbers kind of skyrocket.
Yep.
Now, when a new piece of hardware comes out, you got the hardware, but you also got the launch lineup as well, which is another thing that sways everything towards the here and now and the what's new, and look at the new car model.
Everything you're selling right now is to the hardcore.
All right,
not the casual.
Well, I mean, even the franchises though, like
the casual people that bought the PS4 will be able to continue playing casual games on the PS4.
Okay, but we don't know anything about hardware features or anything like that. I think it's too soon to say that. Now, when you look at the 360 era, I say there's a good chance if this happens that whole 360 thing could happen again. Now, I don't think it would be as dramatic because Sony wouldn't. I don't think they would be going into their own technology using something like the Cell 2 processor or anything like that.
No.
But the 360 had like a year head start, and within that year, they bought up marketing. They were everywhere.
But the 360 was a next generation console.
It was a hard reset. So there's
a hard reset. That's the difference, right?
I see what you're saying, but like at the end of the day, like I see what you're saying, but you're looking at it in a hardware standpoint as well.
I'm looking at it as an accessibility standpoint.
But the thing is, as long as they're selling the software and as long as they're getting the games out there, I feel like with the newer set of hardware and the newer graphics and stuff like that,
let me help your stats a little bit. I think what you're saying means that Xbox is going to be able to recoup some customers. That I agree with you, but realistically, they can not kinda, detrimental anymore to be a year behind. Not in the world we live in anymore.
Well, no, if they have a year head start and they got all the marketing and everything like that moving throughout that year. That's a wave, man. That's like
let me answer your question.
Politics, that would be a green wave.
You've got the Xbox One X this fall that's going to have the better version of Red Dead Redemption 2. And Red Dead Redemption 2 will still sell better on the PlayStation.
Just for the fact that there's more PlayStations, though.
Correct. That's what I'm saying, and that's the accessibility I'm talking about.
It's just a game of numbers, right? I mean, at the end of the day, if you have more people that can play the game, that the likelihood of you selling more on your platform is the likelihood. I think and we already kind of roughly know what Microsoft's strategy is. The goal is to put as many X's in the homes between now and when the next system launches. Because if you have forwards compatibility, you carry that momentum, right? That's a general idea of what's going on. One of these systems is going to peter out. Most likely it's going to be the PlayStation 4 because it has the biggest install base. So, you can only saturate the market so much as far as that goes before someone else goes to the other route. So it's almost like this little bit of a slingshot effect. If assuming PlayStation 4 starts petering out, it doesn't take away from all the ones they've already sold and all their success, but they start slowing down, and then Xbox starts picking up at the end of the generation, and next thing you know, you provide another console. You don't necessarily have to have it, but you can, and people are talking about it and how games look at it. You become the relevant part of the conversation in that situation. So, if Microsoft and this also feeds into the earlier rumors, so you're like, we will launch before PlayStation. Well, we're thinking maybe it's 2020 for Xbox, and Sony's hinting at 2021. I mean, it falls along the lines of probably what they've known. You guys are just starting to find out.
I had friends who were PlayStation guys, right? Like over my house when I had the 360 before the PS3 came out, and like they'd be like, "Oh yeah, did you see?" And they're playing my 360 in the meantime, and they're loving what's going on there. I feel like having a year difference, if it happens, because we don't even know if it's going to happen. Let's be honest here.
It's all speculation.
If the PlayStation 5 comes out in 2020, though, I would put my money in the fact that they are not doing forwards compatibility. They will do backwards compatibility, but not forwards compatibility. And I think that will be a long-term burn, in my opinion, for them.
Well,
ultimately, you want Vulkan support between all the consoles from PlayStation or their variant of Vulkan. If they don't do something like Vulkan or DX12 in their next system, they're gonna fall behind, because it becomes exponential as the CPUs become more powerful and you can run all cores simultaneously. So it creates more of a gulf there. So they need to do something to address that. It's either they find a way to make it work on older hardware, or they do a hard reset and they start over. And that's kind of the boat they're in right now.
Yeah, I think a hard reset right now is that's putting yourself on life support at that point, because right now everybody's well aware of the potential of the future. Doesn't mean we know how they're going to get there or how the accessibility is, but we know the potential is out there, especially with Microsoft saying it. Sony, I don't think, has a choice. They're better to delay, Don, a year or whatever they need than to come out with a hard reset. Would you not agree?
I think with the install base, they can afford to do it.
Right, they can afford to wait the year.
Yeah, exactly. Where Microsoft can't afford it in the same way because they don't have the same install base.
And lucky for Microsoft, I think they're in a better place.
Yeah,
they're much more prepared to move on, and they can't. To be honest with you, if you hook up a lot of the executives to lie detector tests, they can't wait for next generation. They can't wait. Let's go. That shit. I mean, I think all the calendars in the Microsoft Office already turned to 2020.
Well, because I studied psychology, and when you end an era, even if you have forwards and backwards compatibility, you know the era is ended because new hardware has come out, right? And it subconsciously that kind of like clears the slate on a lot of things, and especially in terms of negative stigma that's gone on this generation, it'll be a lot more tempered down moving into like Scarlet and everything that Scarlet has to offer. I'm hoping they jam pack the system with features, gaming features and beyond, and they really have a lot of like bells and whistles to get a lot of people looking into it a lot more. And I think they're going to do that, man.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you something, Don, because the Darksiders 3 studios, they were doing an interview and they said they aren't taking full advantage of the X because the original Xbox One holds them back. And I just remember you mentioning that that's not really a thing. So why would and that's a pretty big developer. So for them to say that
all they're saying is we're just not going to make an X version. That's the roundabout way they're saying that, because it's you can't separate the two. When you optimize on one, you create more overhead on the other. Does that make sense? Like just our assets and things like that. So when you optimize on one, you even have more overhead. So the harsh reality is they just don't want to do an X version. And that's really what it boils down to. So I mean, they just have to be transparent about it and move on.
But Don, is this a case where it's hashtag lazy devs? Because let's be honest, you've mentioned a number of times.
Have the budget.
Well, they don't
have a way to make settings. Devs have those options available.
Devs have more get out of jail free cards than any other business I've ever met.
It's not like that. Like, here's the thing: is like you got to kind of remember where they're coming from. They're coming from a place that was on life support. They pull this franchise out of nowhere, and they're trying to get things up and going. So they're getting a budget to do multiple iterations.
Why not leave the door open and say we can do it later?
Here's the thing: they are saying that it's going to be enhanced, but they say it's going to look identical to the Pro version.
Then it's not enhanced.
So yeah, it's just the same amount of settings that they did on the Pro, and they're not taking advantage of what's on the console. That's all it boils down to.
Okay.
And again, I get what Don's saying, because Don made it very clear: time is money, money is time. I get that, but the whole thing about it is
money is time.
Well, right? Here's the thing: you may be a developer and say, you know what, I want to do it. Like, you're a studio head and say, I want to do this, and you go to your publisher, you're like, we're not giving you a budget for that. And it's not the developer's fault at that point. They haven't been given the budget. They can't go rogue.
Now, what about for the future? If the game is, does very well, everybody's talking about it, you think they could add that in an update in the future?
Yeah, they absolutely could. And I think what really does it is to pressure the support. I mean, if you look at the X probably has the most support out of the area of hardware that's out there. And then PlayStation 4 Pro becomes, the second tier on as far as support goes. But, that support in seeing other publishers and other studios have that success on their franchise by offering that support becomes important.
Yeah.
You also
People,
look at the,
people notice that. Just like Krabby was saying with the Assassin, when you see a big difference like that, people want the same for another game they're interested in.
yeah, you become irrelevant, right? Your game becomes irrelevant at that point. So you want to use what's out there. You know, the X is on an upswing as well, as far as what they're selling, as far as the previous year. So, I mean, that's a big part of it as well. So, I mean, you got to stay relevant, and this. I think that was just really bad wording. And I would not recommend any developer to take that. Just say, hey, at this point in time, we may look in the future, but we don't have any. We just don't have any plans to do more support on the XS.
I agree. I agree with Don. I mean, and it could very well be the publisher's fault, but like I said, I would definitely make a different public service announcement.
It's politics, right? It's all politics when it comes to a certain way. That's why it's really hard to nail down an accurate answer from these guys, right? Because they don't want to piss off any one user base. They don't want to piss off their publisher. And they're dancing around like a sombrero. They have to figure out what to do. And
dance for me.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know. I don't criticize them. I just think that was really poor wording, and they just need to be a little bit more transparent. I think that's what a lot of customers expect these days too, is transparency.
Yeah, that kind of surprised me though, because they were a little bit bigger studio, you know what I mean? And for them to kind of just come out and go, hey, we're not going to do anything special. It's going to look exactly the same on the PS4 Pro. But, I want to talk about Forza Horizon 4 a little bit. Now that we got some more people here, over 600 watching, hit that button, guys. Let's see if we can't get over 200 real quick. That'd be sweet. We got a bunch here. It'd be nice of you guys to do that. And we can talk about this amazing Forza Horizon 4 game, which I absolutely love. You like people that are gonna here's what an ignorant take of Forza Horizon 4 would be. It's just Forza Horizon 3. They didn't change anything. They didn't, it's just a reskin thing. It's just a rehash. It's just that would be the worst take. That's Skip Bayless level bad takes, right? Because honestly, it is not anything like that. I went into it a little bit skeptical too, but from buying your own property, your businesses, you can play co-op and do the campaign races, campaign car races. Like I've never even heard of that, much less see it in a game. The seasons, they're dynamic, and it's just not for show, right? Yeah. If you're playing in the winter, boy, your car is going all over the place. There's only some races that you can't even do. You got to put the snow tires on. It's like, and then in the rain, it gets slick. It actually changes what you have to do. Yeah. The map is 3 times the size of the previous one. There's way more to do. There's just it's in the Horizon Festival itself sort of takes a back seat. Mm-hmm.
So the dev team say it was 3 times as big, and I'm kind of curious where they're getting that number from, to be honest with you.
Hold on, I'll look it up real quick while we talk about how great this game is. I would like
to mention that Crap actually just did a better promo than Xbox for the game. That was very good, actually, Crap. And Crap's right. I'll just add, the only thing I will say is everything Crap said was right. He kind of took all. I don't have any more to add, but I'll be honest with you. For a game that offers so much co-op, I've never seen so many people play a single player. I mean, I know that they've enhanced the co-op abilities. They've actually, I think, I don't know. I think they've updated all the co-op things that I've ever asked for in the game. But whenever I see anyone playing it, they're playing it alone.
I know it's strange. Xbox does the same thing right now, because Xbox is playing it all by himself. And
well, hold on, Don. I actually started opening up today. I saw you on Mixer. I didn't want to just kind of barge in on your stream or anything, but I started opening up today. I'm in the online stuff, the Forzathons and stuff like that. I want to get a feel for the game before I just jump in there with everybody. But it's
cooperative.
That's fine for bot. Go ahead.
That's the weird thing. It's cooperative. I don't think bot's alone. I think a lot of people take that similar approach to new games. But my thing is, it's cooperative. It's not even competitive. So it's like, it's no different than I look at it as booting Halo 3 and getting 4 of your best buddies before you even know the story and all going together and having that shared experience.
Nobody does that in this game.
No, but I did. That's weird you say that, because me and Bot are on opposite ends of the spectrum. So Bot is rocking solo for now, or it sounds like it's going to be changing soon for him. And
well, Don, I gotta disagree with that whole Halo thing, because with Halo, you don't have a finish line. Like with racing games, people get used to it. People get kind of like into it with coming through first. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that you don't do in Halo. You can get all your buddies together, cooperatively shoot down all your enemies and stuff like that. But you're not racing to have a number put on your head at the end of the race either. You know what I'm saying? Halo, there's no number at the end of your.
It becomes different because when you do co-op on Forza, it is a group score. On that,
there's still something in the psyche that if you just constantly see your friend going in front of you all the time, you're like, why am I playing right now?
Don't worry about it. I'll take second place for you. No big deal.
Dang.
But that being said, but when I was playing it on Saturday and I think Friday, we kept filling up the lobby entirely. So like we ran out of space when we were actually playing. So I don't know. Everyone has a little bit different thing.
I think I only did that a handful of times on 3, but all these years of racing games, I'm always used to playing it alone, and I'm playing it in my own time because I could leave the control, go do something, come back, and then keep racing. And nobody's waiting for me. So when it comes to online, that's different because I like how they're doing the online stuff. They have team races and stuff like that. That's really cool. But with the single player stuff, I'm just like, yeah, I'm getting my cars. I'm getting all the cool stuff I want to get. That's me. That's my story. But I know now that's like, yeah, the way they're integrating it with the co-op, it is different than all the years of racing that I have experienced.
You guys know I've been very vocal about it. I'm not a huge Forza fan, but I will, or any racing car, not just Forza, racing car. I do enjoy Forza Horizon the most out of all the games out there. But I treat Forza Horizon a lot like how I treat Trials Fusion or the Trials games. Like when I'm done at the end of the night of playing another game, I'll usually kick on Forza and I'll just, because I look at it as, because all the drive avatars are there. I can see Crap and I can see Xbot and I can see Don and I see Fox. And like when I'm driving, I just try to beat the best time and I try to play the course at one of the hardest I can handle. And I play it until I come in first place. And I just keep playing the same thing I do with Trials. Like until I get first, I just keep doing the same map over and over and over and over again. So like Forza for me lasts a very long time because I don't just go to the next, because if I don't get first place, I don't go to the next race. And that's like, and I know I play it right now. I'm playing on above average, which I think is 4 tiers up. But like I want to go another tier up because like now after 2 races, like I'm coming in first. So like I want to keep trying to do better. But like realistically, that's how I treat Forza. Forza to me is like Trials. Like I just try to play it. I play each map, try to do it, or each race as best as I can. And that's how I am. I mean, I don't think I'm kind of with Fox. I understand they're offering all these things, but because you don't get people to, and I have tons of friends always inviting me to a ton of games. No one really invites you to a lot of Forza races.
Yeah, that's not online.
I was busy like prepping the show. I got invited by the Don, by Showstopper, by Grave, by like 4 other people today as well, trying to get me to play some Forza Horizon. That's pretty cool and pretty rare.
Once again, you are the unicorn of YouTube crap.
Well, guys,
I don't know. Like everybody's playing it though. I mean, like honestly, I've never I have not seen.
Guys,
I see a lot of people playing it, but nobody
invites. You're going to get a lot more invites because there's a part of this game where you literally you have to build your own squad. They have unranked and then they have ranked, where you will go in with like people that you know are good drivers or whatever, and you'll go into competitions against other groups and do like sprints and series and stuff like that.
I'm looking forward to it. You guys want to send me an invite? Send a message and be like, "Yo, you want to jam out on some Forza?" I'm down. I'm down.
Well, you know what I did? I set up my Spotify account, and that's pretty cool because I'm not really a big fan of the music that they have on that game.
Yeah, same.
So I made my own like Forza playlist. That way I can kind of chill to my type of music and play that game, and that to me is much better. But yeah, I absolutely love this game. I think it's the best racing game of all time. It's the most inventive. I wonder where can they possibly go from here. You know what I mean?
I don't care where they go, crap, but I certainly wouldn't mind if they get rid of the festival. They can get rid of that.
Well, the festival's already in the background here. You know what I mean? It's not even like in the foreground. It's
well, call it something else. Call it the carnival. I don't give a shit what the hell you call it. Can I just get something else?
Well, I mean,
You know?
like I said,
They
there's
might
a
do
lot
something else next time.
I
Yeah,
hope so.
there's a lot to do. You know what I mean? Like there is a lot to do, and it's not even so much about the festival. It's like the street races.
Right.
And they brought all that
There's
stuff.
There's
So-
the
so-
stuntman stuff. There's the Hollywood
Mhm.
stuff. There's the buying the houses. I get it, but here, my thing about it is that you want to know something? The rumor crap. The rumor still really intrigues me for a guy who's not a car enthusiast. Like when we were looking at that, what was it when it was supposed to take place in Japan? It was going to be the Tokyo Drift.
Yeah.
I was pretty excited about that. All that neon and the
Yeah.
tight street races. I could see it going there, and I could definitely I'd be very intrigued. You know?
Yeah, I mean they could do cops. Like.
Well, I'm not even saying that. I got to be careful with that. I agree with you. I like that, but I'm saying I know a lot of the audience in Forza doesn't necessarily feel the way that me and you feel about that. But I'm with you.
Like you don't have to have them everywhere. Just do certain places where you're
Right.
racing against cops or whatever.
Yes.
Certain,
Like
from-
where you have the stunt ones now, you do a cop chase. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. I'm not saying like have them all over the place. I'm saying do certain ones like
Just
the
like
stunt-
the
and I-
illegal street races that are apparently in the festival.
Yeah.
That'd be a good
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could have cops in there. I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
they have a lot of good ideas. I'm loving the screenshots. Everybody's taking the screenshots
my
in this
God.
game.
Yeah. Britain
my
is
guy-
beautiful. I feel like taking
it
pictures
is.
everywhere.
It is like I keep stopping. Like at first I couldn't figure out one of my main gripes is I could not figure out how to do the photo mode. Usually it's in the menu or something, right?
It's off
Yeah.
on the
No.
D-pad, isn't it?
Yeah, you got to press up on the D-pad. Like
Yeah.
who would have even thought about that? Like I'm pushing every button. I'm like maybe the drone replaces that, but that's stupid, right?
Oh, I
So-
like the drone. That's nice.
No, I like the drone too. I'm just saying like overall you can't like adjust the settings and the colors and stuff.
Yeah. True,
with-
true.
With the drone. So while I like the drone for taking more far away pictures and stuff like that,
Yep.
I like the actual photo mode for like, you're up in the house and stuff like that. So yeah, I absolutely love what they're doing here and think that more and more games should definitely be doing the whole like photo mode thing. I think it really helps sell the game. When people see it, they want it, and that's really, really a selling point. Look at how many people were like, look at Spider-Man. He's swinging to the left. He's swinging to the right. You know what I mean? Like he's standing 4 feet in the air somehow, like whatever, but it sells the game. People like that, so it's really cool. I think it's great that this game seems to be doing really well. Like I said, it was number one on the paid games list on Xbox Live. 4
And on
days.
Mixer. Everybody was
Yes.
streaming it on Mixer. I was like, dang.
Mixer.
Yeah, Mixer. Stephen Roush says, "How about be a driver for a bank robbery?" That could be something along the lines of what they're doing with the
Hollywood stuff?
the stuntman stuff,
Yeah.
which I thought was pretty cool. I actually liked that a lot.
Yeah, you could do
Dude,
that.
I got 2 stuntman missions, and the third one didn't pop up yet. Like I'm looking for it. Do I have to go back and do the second one again? I thought I got 3 stars, man.
I
Oh,
think
you did.
it's tied to some sort of leveling up thing.
Yeah, like the barn
in that system.
finds.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
they'll pop up because every time I think I have the map almost done, something else pops
What the hell
up. So.
that was?
I don't know.
That's
Oh, the Xbox phone.
That was my phone.
Yeah.
When I get text message, there you go. There you go.
Doesn't Mel have like Junkrat on her phone?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah,
so-
but I can see a lot of those things being added as DLC because I don't want the whole game to have cops and robbers or whatever.
Yeah,
so I
me
can see
either.
that as a side thing. So I'm cool with that. And in the future, like Mooch said, I was also interested in the whole let's go to Japan and then soup up our cars and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that
I
maybe
already
in the future.
silenced Don. Don tried to make it go off again, by the way.
I didn't do
Let
anything.
everybody know that.
How dare you sabotage?
I don't know what he's talking about. You interrupted the lady. That's not cool.
I agree, Foxy. I think that it would be smart to do that as DLC or like specific things and not just have the cops to have the ability to chase you whenever you break the speed limit, because that would
Yeah.
really tear down the flow of the game. So
Right.
I 100% agree with
Yo,
that.
crap! I got
yeah.
with what we're talking about. I got to say, I am really interested to see the 2 DLCs that are going to come out of this, because usually when it comes to Forza Horizon, they'll do a weather one. Either snow or huge amounts of rain and stuff like that. But they already took care of that with seasons, so I don't think it's
It's gonna be a hurricane.
I don't think it's
We're gonna be in a hurricane. Hell yeah! I'm gonna drive it.
No, but seriously, I don't think it's too far fetched to say, kind of like what Mooch was saying, take a plane and go to Japan for a DLC and have that be that way. I really want to see what they're going to do with these. I know people are screaming Hot Wheels and stuff like that, but I'd rather go to Japan.
Hot Wheels Season 2.
I wasn't a fan of Hot Wheels, man, to be honest.
Dude, Hot Wheels put that game.
Get this man out of this podcast right now.
Mike, he's done. He's done. Hey, let's get the 200 likes. We're very close. I want to talk about the Red Dead 2 trailer reactions. Man, here's the thing. Obviously, this game looks amazing, and it's going to be, game of the year probably, because Rockstar games are always that. And for the game to be coming out so close, don't you guys think it's weird that we hadn't seen any real footage of this game yet until now? And now we're seeing it, and it just looks like there's so much to do, maybe a little bit too much to do, but I think like that was because I was talking to Hellhammer. You guys remember Hellhammer, but he goes, it looks great, but it looks like one of those games we're gonna get and play it for a while and then never finish it because there's too much to do. And
that's my fear with that game. I think Hellhammer's right, and it's my fear also with like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I think that game has so much content crap. I mean, I understand you could beeline it through it, but there's people like me that have gaming OCD that are like, if I'm going to play a game, and that's why sometimes I don't finish them because I'm like, I got to do these side missions.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like, if I don't know how this Assassin's Creed is because I haven't played it yet. But the last one, most Assassin's Creed, I don't do very many side missions or side quests, right? So it's pretty straightforward for me. Origins made you have to level up. They made you have to grind for stuff, right? And I wasn't a big fan of that. I'm hoping this eases it a little bit, so where you don't have to do so many of those side missions to level up to be able to finish the game. Because it took me a while.
I heard that it's the same in this AC.
Is it? See, yeah, because that I didn't like most Assassin's Creeds. I'll beat them over a weekend. Assassin's Creed Origins,
not this one, crap.
Yeah, it took me like 6 months.
I mean, not to say you can't, but
I went back to it a lot or whatever. You know what I mean? But
I mean, you and a lot of people in the audience probably aren't going to like this, but because of the way that my timing, like I said, you just never know when you're working. And Don, you know this. I think Don will get my back on this, and crap, you to a certain extent. Like you get to working, and you're trying to do certain things, try to put accomplishments on certain games, and I'm definitely going to be very close to beating Spider-Man soon and platinuming it. But I'll tell you right now, I'm probably going to go right to AC, which means again, I'm currently I'll keep trucking away at Forza because Forza is a game you can just turn on, play.
Yeah, you can just go back and that's
and I like
about it. Yeah,
it is. But I'm probably putting on the shelf till around Christmas. I'll have some time around the Christmas holiday, some time off. Looking to maybe get into Shadow during that Christmas holiday. So I'm going to go AC crap.
Shadow is so good, man.
It is. And don't get me wrong. It's not a decision I'm making that's likely. I'm just saying that I'm going AC.
I'm going to recommend that you do Shadow over AC, and I'll tell you why.
If I don't do AC now, Don, I don't know if I'll get back. Right now, go ahead.
I'll tell you why. So you just did a really long game with Spider-Man, right?
Yes.
It's not even a long game. You can beat it in like
platinum it.
Oh, yeah, that's a you problem.
It is a me problem, but nonetheless, it's still me. Who's this guy yelling? Go ahead.
So Mooch, you just spent a lot of time on that, right?
Yes.
You're going to spend a lot less time on Tomb Raider. So you'll have a sense of accomplishment. Okay. You have that breakup. That's what I'm trying to say is like, you'll have that breakup where you go, okay, cool. I can play this game. There's some side stuff, but
okay. So let's talk about that, Don. What's the how many hours are we talking for 15, Tomb Raider?
It took me 15 or so to beat Tomb Raider.
It took me
you didn't do tombs and side missions and collectibles and all that?
No, I think I did one tomb.
Well, so to give you the contrast, mine was like 23 hours, 24 hours, and I did about half the side stuff, and then Mega was about a little less than twice what I put into it. And he did everything.
Oh wow! So K Mega did about 50 hours, 48 hours, something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right, I'll buy that. Yeah. Well, I mean, let's be honest. So I would probably attack Tomb Raider the same way you did, Don. So I'd be between 25 and 30 hours. That's going to lead me right to Red Dead. Red Dead is probably going to take until like the rest of my life.
Yeah,
so,
it'll be neck and neck with The Witcher 3.
right?
No matter what you do, you're gonna have to put something on the shelf, right?
Something's got to go on the shelf.
Yeah, there's no way around it. It's either gonna be Red Dead, it's gonna be Assassins, or it's gonna be Tomb Raider. But you get that sense of accomplishment much sooner, I think, if you go with Tomb Raider sooner.
All right, no, I'll take that into consideration. I think you make a hell of a point. My only contradiction to that would be that I'm right now. You have a good 2 weeks, 3 weeks of a lot of the shows talking about Odyssey, and I know Crap will be going through it.
Yeah,
and just to be able to go through it, and if there's something that's fun to talk about, or an issue, or this or that. It may be a little bit more intuitive to play that at this time because let's just call a spade. Tomb Raider is still getting really good press as far as social media goes, but realistically, I think that like Tomb Raider now, either people have played it or it's going to be a game that everybody picks up, around Black Friday. So that was my take.
Well, you know what? I really I'm happy that I rushed through Spider-Man to play Tomb Raider.
I don't blame you. I think that might have been a good move on your part, Crap.
Yeah, I took a little bit more time with Tomb Raider just because I had liked those first two games so much, and I already kind of knew what to expect with Spider-Man.
Yeah,
it was great. Don't get me wrong, it was great.
It was definitely great.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, don't let me dissuade you by saying it's not great. It's pure greatness.
Yes, watch yourself, Crap.
Yes, my bad. Like, I mean, it could have been a little better with a throwable axe, and maybe some differences in enemies.
I'm still watching all the IGN Rewind theaters on Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm looking for anything that even resembles an axe.
Yeah,
because if I don't see that, I don't know how it's going to win.
It's true. See, and I brought this up. Snoopy on of
course
on Twitter, right? He was like game of the year, and it was Red Dead Redemption 2, like a picture or a GIF or something. And I says, dude, it doesn't even have a throwable axe. And he said, bro, I said game of the year, not game of our lifetime. I stand corrected.
That's
right?
Great.
I mean, yeah. So look, I am very much, oh man, people are really caught up on what game mode I play my games on, huh? Easy mode most of the time. That's right. Does that trigger some people? Huh?
I think it affects their daily routine,
does.
Crappy.
Wow. For people
rough.
to really think about I wonder what game mode Crapgamer is playing this game on. It's an eternal question.
Hey, I play on normal, guys. You care? No? Oh, okay. Bye.
Oh yeah. Oh no, they only care if you play something on easy, apparently, because they have the right to tell us how we should spend our money, and they have the right to tell us what game mode we should play on, right? Or we don't really play the game, apparently. Well, guess what? That's not true. Right. You can play and enjoy a game, whatever level you want to, and just have fun with it, man. That's just what I do. Sometimes
maybe I should worry about what other people are doing. Hey, Mooch, aren't you going to play Call of Duty? You're not going to play no games, Mooch?
Yeah.
Man, last time I checked, the game mode is there for a reason.
Oh, exactly. I mean, come on, it's Noof, not like this.
No, chill.
And I don't. Never mind.
Noof, those are for the weak.
Yes,
leave it at that.
Those are for the weak.
Only sailors use those, Noof. Come on. Well, they should. Those filthy buggers. They go from port to port.
Nice, Crap.
Okay, so I mean, Red Dead 2 also going to be native 4K on the Xbox One X. I found this to be enlightening because one, there's no PC version, at least probably for a year. Two, Sony has this marketing deal, and this game's going to look so much better on the Xbox One X, and that's got to piss some people off. I already think what we've seen so far, which has been, I think, pro footage, looks okay, looks pretty good. But, I think that obviously the X is going to be the place to play it.
Oh, hold on. Crap. Which one's going to have more grass, though?
You know what? I'm going to do a comparison. I think I'm going to compare which one has more grass.
How much grass?
Capital Foundry.
Capital Foundry will be in full effect. Which one has more grass? Which one's more 4K ear? It's going to be, very in-depth, very professional, as I always am. Eternal Shada says, question, what kind of player are you guys? Speedrunner, Explorer, or online multiplayer? You know what? I just try to play through. I like story. If I'm playing a single-player game, I play to experience the story. I don't care about getting everything. But I do prefer multiplayer games because that's I like playing with my friends and, just having a good time and all that kind of stuff. So for me personally, that's more kind of how I am. What about you, Mooch? What are you?
Well, I mean, you make a good point. I'm always a sucker for a good multiplayer game, but I mean, I guess I would be Explorer. I'm the one that's I really you got a side quest, I'm doing it. Like the second a side quest comes up in any game, I'm doing it. That's probably 9/10 of my problem with The Witcher. Like the absolute second I see anything that says side quest, I'm just like I just wander to it. Literally, I just wander over to it. That's why I want to go and explore. Because realistically, and Donald, tell me if I'm right or wrong, but I have found that some of the true quality in some games are the side missions. I just do. I'll be honest with you. I'll go a step further. Spider-Man. I've actually liked some of the side missions in Spider-Man more than the main missions. The main missions are the ones that you hear a lot of people going, oh, then I was Mary Jane and I was creeping. Then I was Miles Morales and I was walking around, right? Or you're just going, right? And you're just fighting a bunch of like the regular bad guys.
That stuff felt really forced, to be honest with you.
You know, it's funny crap because don't get me wrong. I won't dispute what you're saying because if that's how you feel, I can't take it away from you. But I just feel like a lot of games do that now. You know, I don't think that Spider-Man's the only one. And I think that like I don't care for it, but sometimes after you've like beat the shit out of a bunch of people in the game with a bunch of different like combos, I don't mind doing a stealth mission here or there to just like enjoy enjoy an adult beverage and just sit back and relax for a minute. You know what I mean? After you just beat the shit out of your controller for a half hour. So I mean, like realistically, that's just like I think that's kind of a welcome thing. Certain gamers don't have a problem with that. But I mean, ultimately, I think side missions can be more fun and they open up the character sometimes. You know what I mean? They're not just this stiff robot walking around all the time. All of a sudden, there's a human element brought in on the side story mission type of gameplay. What do you think, Don? Am I?
I think if it's done right, it can add to the game. But
yeah.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of times it's also not done right. So it's roll of the dice, I think, as far as that goes, because sometimes those things just don't get the attention.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm more of in the middle of between Explorer and let's get this done.
Well, by the way, Van City 92, Van City, you got to stop listening to the Bizarro Mooch channel because you're not listening in right. My issues with past, okay. My issue with past Assassin's Creeds with what I said was there's 65,000 like soldiers to get rid of, like when you're going into a base to take over that you have to like hit them. And then sometimes they're just such dumb AI, I said, where like you'll climb up a set of stairs and then you look down and see if they're coming up after you. And they're just kind of fumbling, walking into the stairs, like a bunch of just like 1989 AI. That's what I said. That's kind of annoying after a while. And you have to do the same thing over and over and over and over again. And each game is different, Van City. So you can't say, well, Mooch doesn't like side quests in Assassin's Creed Origins, but he likes side quests in The Witcher. I mean, how can you compare the two? It doesn't make any sense at all. Some of the side quests in Witcher, some of those are actually longer story missions than the actual main mission. So Van, you got to pay attention to what I'm saying and not just be like, I remember when Mooch rhymed a word with fun and he said it was unfun. I'm going after it. So it's not, I mean, let's listen to the show.
Here's what I'll say about Mooch. He has very strong opinions, but he still will try a game. And that's what it comes right down to. Try a game, see what is different, what they're implementing different. He kind of drills down and see if it's something he enjoys going forward. So doesn't matter what game we see at E3, he's going to criticize one of them. We all know it, but he's also going to try it.
True, very true. Especially if he mooches it.
And he'll listen to other gamers. If they're persistent enough or arguing a good enough case that, hey, this is fun or this is different in a certain way. So, Mooch is talking about his interest in the game versus actually enjoying the game, and there's a difference there. I mean, it's important for a lot of people to point that out.
Yeah,
I appreciate that, Don. Thank you.
He's like,
yes, I agree.
I mean, I appreciate it.
For me, I agree with you guys because it does depend on the game, how you play it, how you feel, what you want to do. And when I'm playing Spider-Man, it is more prevalent to me that the story stuff I'm not into as much when I'm not Spidey. I like being Spidey, swinging around, fighting guys. So that's what I like. But normally, I'm an explorer and a multiplayer type of person. When I play Tomb Raider, even though I'm close to the end and I'm trying to rush through it and stop doing collectibles, I can't help it. I pick up stuff and then I listen to her talk about it. I love that stuff. I love everything about that game. So yeah, even though I'm like trying to beat the game already, I still can't help but stop and look around.
You know, Fox, I gotta say, I'm kind of in your boat there. I'm Explorer and online multiplayer, and I think the Don can actually, he could be my witness to this, because he was with me when I first went through Destiny 2, and I was in the story, and like, you know, when you're in the story, people are just trying to run to get to the end. I'm over here looking at like the walls and trying to get up to this space over here to see if there's something there. There's something
Is there a
there.
box?
And
Is there a
Don,
ghost?
Don kept telling me there's nothing there. There's nothing there. That's not how they do the story for Destiny. There's nothing there. Just come on, just come. And I'm like, yeah, but no, this is what I do. I look around.
Bot looks at every shiny little thing in the map. No joke. He gets so distracted.
Yeah, and I mean,
Yep,
that game right there. That game right there, I got side missions and stuff like that with like dungeons and strikes and raids and stuff.
Lost sectors.
Yeah, and that's why that game has hooked me for as long as it has hooked me. But and then with that, it has the online multiplayer. I that's one of the main things that makes the Xbox platform shine, is what they do with online multiplayer. And yeah, so I'm a mix of the both, just like you, Fox.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Nice.
That's cool. So, what did you guys? I know you hate cowboys for some reason, you freak, Xbot. But
You guys,
He just called him a freak.
all hype and happy and everything like that, and I'm like, yeah, I'm happy with the games I have now. You guys,
I hear you, Foxy. What did you think of? Somebody said, or music says, mute, stop yelling.
Who's this guy yelling on your show, Crap?
I don't know. Fox, what do you think? Are you interested in Red Dead 2?
No, I told you I'm not. I mean, I think it looks great.
Great.
Yeah, it looks freaking.
It looks really
very
good.
detailed and beautiful, and I can definitely see some of my friends streaming it. You know, just passing by, checking out some of the story stuff. But I'm not playing it. I don't care for cowboys and all that crap. So no, not for me. I'm gonna save some money on that one.
Yes!
Yeah.
Interesting. What about you, Don? Are you gonna play as a cowboy?
You know, I've never really liked a lot of Rockstar games. I know that's very controversial, but I've never really gotten into them. This one I'm hoping to get into, but I'm in the same boat as Mooch in the sense I have to find time to carve that one out.
Yeah.
Because I want to do it right. I want to do it proper justice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what? It's not that controversial, Don, because I can tell you why. Right? Like I don't think ever beaten a Rockstar game, like any of their big games. GTA 4, I gave up partway through. GTA 5, I had that on 360 originally and gave up partway through. I have it on Xbox One. I've never even played the Xbox One version. I own it. I've never played it. You know, Bully. I got pretty far in that, but never went back to it. Max Payne 3, I bought but never played. Yeah, so for me, like the GTA games specifically are too much content. You know,
the weird thing about their content, any game the seams show, right? For me, like that's the burden I have to bear when I play a game.
Yeah,
you have to try to put on blinders on that sort of stuff. And for the longest time, their games, it was hard. The immersion was always broken for me. Playing through their games, but other people were getting sucked in, so I was always kind of missing out on whatever experience they're having because I'm looking at a wall and realizing the textures don't line up, or something like that. It distracts me. So like I've never been able to get into their games, and I don't think their mechanics have ever been like better than other games, but it's like the collaboration of everything that allows people to be pulled in. But I think they finally, they worked on their craft. Obviously, they're super talented people, and you look at this game and you're like, man, regardless if you're into cowboys or not, their bot, you got to admit looks like they pulled all their talent together, and those scenes are not showing on what what their game is. It's just
Don,
a seamless experience.
You know what it is? They heard about your opinion of their work, and they're like, you know what, we need to step up and really put this game out there, polish everything out and make it look outstanding. And the game, graphically, it looks great. When it comes to content, there's going to be content there with it being Rockstar. And at the end of the day, I am really excited for people who are waiting for this game to drop. For all you gamers out there, I cannot wait for you guys. As far as I'm concerned, I got Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I got Forza Horizon 4. I got Destiny 2 Forsaken. I am good. I am all set now. It's for you guys out there. I am excited for you.
Know, to defend bot for a second, I think it's not just about Forza. I think it's or excuse me, not about Forza, about Red Dead. Is you got to think about it. I mean, you no matter what show you like to listen to or what YouTube channel you like better, everyone's always talking about all the games because we talk about the news. We try to all kind of dabble. And I said this back in the early summer months. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And don't get me wrong, crap gives me a lot of shit. Okay, all the time. That's fine. I'll take it. It's fine. Like I have chosen to beat thoroughly Spider-Man. I want to play the game in its completeness. That's fine. I also, and that's why we just had that great conversation with Don. You know, AC Odyssey or Tomb Raider, and I want to play one of those. Am I going to complete it 100%? Not those two games, but I'm going to play that one to its darndest as well. And then when Red Dead comes out, I really want to be, that's the game from October 26th, okay, until easily January, I think, 21st when Resident Evil 2 comes out, the remake, or whenever it is, the 14th or the 21st, whatever it is, the mid-January. I'm going to play Red Dead like religiously until then. And does that mean that that's when I'll stop? No, but that's as far as I'll get for that time being before I pick up a new title. I want to start to give the time and dedication to these games, like Don was just saying, because you're not giving, that's not fair to the game. There's a lot of people that are like, you know, they'll pick up the game on Tuesday and they got a review out on Friday. And it's like, don't get me wrong, that's fine. That's fine. If that's your shtick, that's your shtick. But realistically, that's not how I want to play.
Is that even fair for your pocketbook? You
no, it's not.
Right? Like you
right?
Get use out of it.
Yeah, you know, whether you bought it or you mooched. Let me tell you something. Mooching ain't easy, folks. Okay? Don't you because you know it's not easy. So you got to earn it. And realistically, I you know, no matter how you earn the game, I think you should enjoy the game. And Don, you've put your blood, sweat, and tears into the game you're making. I don't think you'd want anyone to run through it in 5 hours, unless it's a 5-hour game.
Well, I mean, well, if they spent the money, and they can do what they want at that point. Like at a certain point, like from an artist.
True, but if you're sitting around a round table and having a couple drinks when you guys go gold, okay.
Yeah.
You're not going to be like, I'm glad Mooch just ran through our 20-hour game in 4 hours and giving a review on it. You know what I mean? You're like, I mean, you know, that might be behind closed.
That's the thing.
No, but,
you got to just let it roll. Like at that point, you're like, well, yeah, whatever.
I'm just saying, like, if I was a developer, I would like you to play the game, and as a consumer, I'd like you guys to relax and enjoy the game.
I don't know if I would criticize, but I would say I'd appreciate the people more that took the time.
That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, I'm being facetious and I'm being comical, but I'm saying like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I agree with you. And that was something that I was put on Twitter, and we talked about it for a few seconds early on in the intros, and you guys were like, wait, these are intros, not a goddamn topic.
Yeah.
But crap, it is a big deal to kind of bring that up. It is a thing. Like, it just seems like there's such a plethora of games that come out from September. We'll just say September 1st till Black Friday.
I feel the rush. I'm with you because like Assassin's Creed unlocks for me Friday.
Right.
And then what is it? It's Red Dead. I'm not sure.
You got Black Ops in there. Yeah. There's another game in there too. I mean, there's so many games. And then like, to be honest with you, there's even little games like Mega Man 11 that maybe don't spark the interest of a lot of you guys.
Or VR games like the Astrobot Rescue Mission.
And I looked at that. That's not a bad looking game.
Life is Strange.
Life is Strange too.
Yeah.
Life. There's that.
Yeah.
What? Say it again. What? How dare you?
I'm sorry. You already know my stance on this, Fox.
Yeah, you can handle it. I know.
Yeah, I know. Pressing up on the D-pad is really confusing.
No, those games aren't that bad. They weren't like the
storybook games, man.
Oh, thank you.
Hold on. Whoa.
Vladdy, well, yeah, you know what? And Bot, I want to get back to that. That's a hell of a point. Vladdy Putin goes Fallout 76. Thank you, Vladdy. That's the other one I was thinking of. I'm like, there's a big game.
Oh, yeah, Fallout. Dang.
That game looks to be awesome.
I don't really care about Fallout 76, but I will point out that those the Life is Strange and Before the Storm were both great stories, both great games. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the full-on mechanics that everybody considers to be a quote-unquote game, because there are game mechanics in there. It's not as just bland as the Telltale games. There is actually things that you do in the game.
No, it's a runner-up.
Dude, crap! I gotta say, I've tried. what's that? The Edith Finch game, and I tried Until Dawn. Right?
Until Dawn, I loved.
It's to me, I like if I was to review that game, I would give it a game score and an experience score because to me, like it just didn't feel like a game. Like I didn't feel connected to the characters.
Well, there's different experiences, and I get that. So, like, Foxy, I know Foxy likes Life is Strange. I think Crap says he likes it. And
whoa, hold on.
I'm sorry, what?
It's not like I wouldn't say that I liked it if I didn't like it. Now, here's the thing: when I first played Life is Strange, I played the first episode of the first one game, and I didn't like it. Right. I was like, these two girls, they're in high school. This isn't very good, right? That's what I thought. Life is Strange Before the Storm came out, and you play it, and it's. Damn it, Moon, I hate you.
You know it's an amazing game with awesome story, and you get so many choices.
Crap! If you play through the whole game and you only got like 200 gamer score, this would be a completely different review. But go ahead.
Hold on. So I played Before the Storm, which is the prequel, and I loved it. And then then I went back and started Life is Strange all over again. And then I was like, oh, it all makes sense, and blah blah blah. And then I was like, oh, and then it was a very good narrative driven story. So I really enjoyed it. And I thought I wouldn't have wasted time because I think those games to beat the whole thing is like 8-10 hours or something. So it is like
you get 1,000 achievement for just beating it.
No, you have to.
No, you have to do stuff.
You have to do certain stuff to get achievements.
All right, well that's good.
Yeah, it's like I didn't get 1,000.
It would be one thing if Crappy was just like, yeah, I like it, it's fine. I would have called him out on it. But the fact that me and him actually talked about the story and whatever, like the characters and maybe the future of the games. I know for a fact he likes it. So.
Yeah, I like the games. I mean,
I have to defend him.
When I was playing that game, a lot of people messaged me and they're like, "Oh, that's such a good game, Crap." But it was like Fox and Luca both told me that it was a really good game first. And at first, I didn't really believe them. You know what I mean? But yeah, so I like that series. So that's in there for me. Just like Mega Man is in there for you, Mooch. I couldn't give two shits about Mega Man, to be honest with you.
Well, Mega Man's nostalgic. You know what I mean? Like you want to say
Spyro.
Nostalgia.
Yeah, I hate it. Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to Spyro collection.
That's nostalgia all the way.
Spyro, yeah, it's nostalgia, but Spyro is the same as like the whole Crash Bandicoot, where they're just taking the old game and they're throwing some paint on it.
Hey, Spyro.
Well, I see comparisons. It looks way better.
Yeah.
Well, the Mega Man was built. That's a new game. That's a brand new game. So
I was just comparing Spyro and Crash.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I could mooch a copy of Mega Man, I'd maybe play it, Mooch.
Well,
that's a tough game.
I know. That's why I hated those games growing up.
I'm looking forward to playing. I loved Mega Man, man. There was just something. That's a game. That's one of the games that I'm gonna enjoy playing, going through again at my leisure. It's not like I'm gonna sit there and do a 12-hour marathon, but realistically, it's. Mega Man was one of the first games, and I don't know if you guys remember this, take you guys down memory lane, but the first time you played the original Mega Man, there was no save option. So what they had was like this, almost like this old school abacus, code with the ball, like a matrix with like these dots, and you had to put the dots in certain order, and that the certain order depended on how many of the bosses you beat, right? Mm-hmm. So like that was just fun. I remember sitting there beating a couple bosses. All right, I couldn't play all night long back then. And I just had my sketch pad and I sketched out the matrix and I circled in where it had to go. And then I picked up the next day. Like that was fun, man. And Mega Man's got that memory. That's my nostalgia with that. I beat all of them. I love them. So am I going to sit here and tell you guys, you got to go buy it? You got to try. Like that's the thing. That's the difference.
You got to try Mega Man.
Right? Don't knock it till you try it. Right? I'm going to tell you guys this. If it doesn't interest you, don't buy it. Like myself personally, I dig it because I've got that nostalgia. I've got that memory, and the game just has that fun platforming ability to it that kind of just entices me. But if you don't dig it, it's not your bag. I'm not going to tell you to go grab that, right? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But I mean, there's a lot of people that are like, Spyro? What do you mean you're not buying Spyro? You should be like 8th in line at the very least. At the very least. Don't you remember? Don't you remember what we went through? No, we don't remember, dude. And we don't want to remember. Thank you. But
listen, I like Spyro a lot. I like that one growing up. That was like one of the earlier like PlayStation games I remember really enjoying. Mm-hmm. I was playing my PlayStation Mini on Crossfire last week, having a good time. playing
Yeah,
those.
we really appreciate that, brother.
Oh yeah, with
hey,
the little
man.
screen.
Yes, hey, I posted that on my Instagram too. I was like, hey, here's my PlayStation Mini with my mini screen. It's great. I paid less than $100 for all this crap, and you guys are gonna pay $100 for 20 games, man. I can buy as many games as I want for this thing. So yeah, for me, I like nostalgia. I'm with you on that. I just that's not really my bag. I like that type of game. Yeah, not really my thing at all. But I do want to talk about this. Sony canceled their PlayStation Experience, Mooch.
Oh, yeah.
Their PlayStation Experience. They said no. But you know who's stepping up for them is Greg Miller. They offered to hold an event. What a nice guy that guy is, right?
He really is.
He really is, man. But no PlayStation Experience, so he offered to hold his own event to show off some games and stuff. But to me, this was a little bit odd because you have a lot of people going, that must mean they're gearing up for PS5. Or you can think logically and say they showed off all their games way too early, and so we already know what they have to close out the generation, which is The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Days Gone. I'm missing something. What's that other game that they have? Death Stranding. Yeah, I forgot the FedEx simulator.
I don't know if that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean,
I think you're right. I mean, realistically, I think Sean Layden came out and if he said the way he said it, he's very clear
enough to show off. Yeah,
and Phil said that in previous years when they're like, "Why don't you have an Xbox show?" He's like, "We don't have enough to show you. We just put together an E3 show." The XO show right now, Microsoft has a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of wheels in motion. There's the 5 new studios. There's the possible acquisition of a new studio. There's new hardware probably coming out, being announced next year for the year 2020. There's just a lot of stuff going on with Microsoft, and they've got stuff to talk about. So they're going to do an XO show. Do I want to sit here and say it's nothing? There's no negative to know. Myself personally, I'll be honest with you guys, and I know no one's going to like this, but I said the same thing with PSX. I'll say this there. PSX, XO, I don't think we need either of them. I'm more than happy with the E3 showings being the big, there's a reason you guys always, when everybody asks you what's your favorite holiday, I understand not all of you, but I'll say 90% of you say Christmas, right? But if Christmas was in July and in December, maybe Thanksgiving or Halloween would beat it out, because you got 2 of them, so my whole thing is that E3 is our Christmas for a reason. So if this is a great XO, I welcome it because Microsoft hasn't done it crap. So I'm all about XO right now. That's a great show. Can't wait to see what they're going to have. I'm all about it. But if the XO show this year, and then they have an XO show maybe next year and the year after, and it starts to be like PSX where it got dwindled down, just so saturated and watered down. You know what? You don't have to have them all the time. So when I saw that, I was taken back at first. But realistically, Sean Layden's comment really answered everything very clearly. So I didn't have a problem with them not doing it. And I think Microsoft is in a prime position right now to have a great show. But realistically, crap, in 2-3 years, once we see what all these acquisitions are working on, I'm not sure if we need an XO in 2 years. I don't know.
Well, for me personally, I like the idea because you are going into next gen, right? And depending on here's Phil's philosophy. He only wants to show games 18 months out. So you take 6 months between something that wasn't ready to show at E3, but maybe he's ready to show 6 months later. I like that.
That's because the case they're in now. But I'm saying once we start, because think about it, crap. You go to next E3 or the E3 after that. These companies are everything they're working on. We're going to see a snippet. You know what I mean? We're going to know. So you're right. Right now we don't know, but they might be ready to show something come this November. So let's see it. But realistically, even if it's CGI, let's see it. But I'm saying to you that with time, they're all going to fall into a cyclical cycle, if you will. That's basically something we're going to see every E3.
Well, hopefully with Xbox and Microsoft, with what they're doing with Game Pass, you guys have stated that they have to have content. They have to have content coming out like crazy. They have their studios that are working now are working on multiple projects. There should always be something to show if that's the case. That's what I'm thinking in kind of like best case scenario when it comes to the XO show. And maybe it'll be, kind of like You know, like how you see Netflix, oh, next month this is coming or whatever. Maybe it'll be kind of like a year type thing with Xbox, you know, and the games that are coming up. We just don't know until we see the first one.
Well, they could do this too, right? They could always do you know, a situation where they show off a lot of indie games and some of the smaller games, right? Like instead of taking up time for a lot of that stuff at E3, why not show it there? I was kind of weird. Like to me, it's sort of weird. Like we all make fun of Microsoft because they do piss poor marketing, right? I think everybody can kind of admit that. But where Sony piss poor markets a lot of their stuff too, unless it's a big like AAA game, right? Like Spider-Man or God of War. Like where's this Astrobot marketing? This is potentially something that could sell your PlayStation VR, and nobody even knew it was coming. And nobody cared about it until it got good scores. And then you saw Yoshida go.
Go ahead.
But then you see Yoshida go, great Metacritic score on Twitter. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, listen, to answer your question, and I don't know if it's devil's advocate or not, crap, but realistically, they're taking the grassroots route with VR. And that's right now, whether, you know, there's a $200 unit out there or a $300 unit. The thing is, console sales are slowing down for Sony right now. Not in a bad way. Just saying that, you know, we're ending the end of this. We're coming to near the end of this generation. It's hard to say, hey, by the way, go grab a PS4 for Spider-Man and God of War and blah, blah, blah. And we've got Dreams game coming out, Days Gone, Last of Us 2, blah, blah, blah. And oh, by the way, spend another $400 on this. And it's like, that's a tough sell. They realize that's a tough sell. So they're hoping that the games will do the justice for the system. But realistically, and I know you went back and forth on Twitter, you know, VR is an acquired taste, folks. You know, it's not for everybody. And realistically, I think that I actually think this Astrobot game looks pretty good.
Yeah, they say it's like Mario Brothers or whatever. You know,
I think, and I watched some video of it. Here's the thing: I see where they're coming up with that. That's a stretch. You know, I mean, it's good. It looks like it's fun. I believe I want to say it's $39. Could be $29.
It's $39.
It is $39, right? I thought I saw that.
Yeah.
$39. That game looks like it would be, to anyone who owns the VR headset, a solid buy at $19.99. Definitely not paying $40 for that.
Yeah.
But that's a me thing. I'm just saying, like, I think that's actually one of the better games I've seen in VR, especially in the PSVR as of recently. But, you know, because I mean, everything right now just is like jump scare. Everything's either a jump scare or a Fruit Ninja type of game, right? It's either, right?
I miss Fruit Ninja, man.
It's either you're slicing raw beef, or you turn like,
well,
turn to your left. You're like, oh shit.
I gotta be honest. Okay, so PlayStation did just put out this tweet a little bit ago, about, and it's a new bundle that they have. It's a PSVR bundle, and it's got Astrobot Rescue Mission and Moss, which Moss.
That's a great combo.
Okay, I was going to mention that when you guys were, I was like, hey, did they do a bundle at least? Because that would be at least something.
That's a great combo, too.
So I got to say, like, and here's the thing. I don't talk about VR because most people don't care, right? And I get that. It's a very small portion, but I love it. I'm very passionate about VR because I think it's fun. But, again, Moss is a great game for VR. They just announced the top-selling VR games or whatever, Farpoint, which is a game that I was very hyped on. Remember, Mooch? And
is that the first-person shooter one?
Yes, it's the first-person shooter. They also released a new one. I forget the name of it, but it's like Rainbow Six Vegas or Rainbow Six games, but in VR. Yeah. And I haven't actually had a chance to play it yet, but that's supposed to be like an extremely great game. So the top-selling VR games are Farpoint, VR Worlds, which is like 5 different games in one. Kind of you test out what they are. Batman Arkham VR, which is great. Elder Scrolls Skyrim VR, which is great. Drive.
I didn't think Batman was great. I think Batman.
Dude, like I mean, here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. If you want to showcase VR to someone, that's a good game to let them them play. Just because they're gonna be like, "Whoa, I'm Batman, dude." When I first looked at myself in the mirror, I was like, "I'm Batman." You know what I mean? Like and you look over the edge, like I was just blown away by it. So yeah, I think that that VR is great. There's also a Doom game on VR. There's that Star Wars thing. Like I enjoy it. I hope that it sticks around. I get it. 2, 3, 4% are probably going to play or be interested in VR. But I do like the disc gets recognition. The thing that I don't like is anybody that knows me knows I'm a huge VR fan on the PSVR side from the moment I got it, right? And now you see like a lot of the PlayStation fanboys go, well, now look, even VR games are scoring better than Xbox games. It's like you don't even buy VR. Nobody's really supporting it, and you're using it as a bragging point. Yeah. That's kind of ridiculous. Like actually buy the stuff and enjoy it, and then get back to me. You know, like I'm.
Well, I also think
I'm looking forward to trying this game. By the way.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, I'm going to sound like crap with what he said with Black Ops. Okay, you know, if somebody wants to mooch me the game, I would gladly play that game. I just realistically, I think also you have to look at the way Metacritic and the way things are scored, right? Like there's indie games that get 90s, right? That doesn't mean that they're right up there with God of War. Okay. Yeah. So these VR games are being judged against other VR games. I would assume, I would hope,
I think so.
Right. I would hope for all of our sake. But yeah, you can't, you know, there's all these, what do you call it? Film festivals for like big Hollywood movies, right? And there's people who are just like, they're just walking around with their, like the Blair Witch Project. That did pretty well, right? In the film festival. That's not up there with Godfather. Take it easy. But it did well, right? So it is what it is. So yeah, I'm going to give credit where credit's due.
Well, did you ever get our games playing Moss? Because that was
I never got it. You know, and it was like $30, and I'm like $30 to run around like a rat.
Yeah, that's better when it's on sale, to be honest, especially right now with all the bigger games coming out. I think also it's a bad time for that game to release right now. It's going to get buried.
Yeah,
that's true too. I mean, these games, I mean, crap, realistically, like, and maybe I'm being a bit facetious here, but like Moss in this Astrobot, like $10. Like that's,
I think Moss is like $20 right now. Yeah, I hear you. Like,
no, I'm saying that but $10 is a buy.
Yeah, you know? like for me, I buy a lot of VR games. I get some of them physically, like the bigger ones, but like Farpoint stuff.
Send them to me.
Yeah. well, listen. Here's the thing, right? Like I buy a lot of them digitally. They do a lot of VR sales a lot.
Oh yeah, they do flash sales.
Exactly. It's where you can pick these games up for $2, $3, $4. One of my favorite VR games is not really so much a game. It's one of the Apollo missions where you're actually in it and you can like,
yeah.
I picked that up for like $3.50 or something one time. It was just a lot of fun, you know, like you can pick up a lot of stuff like that and just kind of enjoy it. And you know, and play it when you have a little bit of time. This Astro thing, like, hey, cool. It looks like it's going to be fun and get some people talking about VR again. I think that's cool because remember, we hadn't heard anything about it in a long time. Like, why didn't they have this at E3 show off this? Or, you know, why?
You said it yourself, crap. It doesn't show well, right?
Here's what's going on, guys. Here's what's going on. This is I'm looking at everything. The no PSX. They're not doing marketing for certain games, pieces of hardware and stuff like that. I gotta say it. Sony's happy where they are right now, and the more I see stuff like this, and the more I hear you guys talking about it, the more I'm like, you know what? They are gearing up for next generation, and I think the PS5 will also come out in 2020. Going back to like that first topic, I feel like they're happy if exclusives drop between this year and next year with them, they'll have marketing for it and stuff like that. But I feel like they are in their comfortable position, and that's what gets Sony in trouble in the long run. They get to a certain point where they feel like they're happy with everything, and then they stop doing things. And then before you know it, they're back at the bottom of the ladder trying to work their way up again. That's what I see going on. Now, you guys correct me if I'm wrong if you have a different opinion, but this is what I'm seeing. Hearing what you guys are talking about in terms of marketing a piece of hardware that they should probably be marketing, software that goes with that, with their VR headset, which you know they are going to support VR going into PlayStation 5 and whatnot as well. I think they're just happy where they are, and they're setting up for their next hardware to come out within the next year or two, man.
Well,
so he's saying they're reclining on their desk, with their feet up on it. Okay,
smoking that cigar right there.
Yeah, I mean,
probably.
Look, I get it, man, and a lot of people, like I said, aren't dealing that. I think I think that, you know, hopefully it ends up doing okay in the long. I would like to see it on Xbox, you know, like that's just me. So I would. Hey, Harry Potter, huh? How about this?
Is this a thing?
Harry, Harry Potter RPG footage leaks. I was like, everybody was freaking out about this. I'm like, is Harry Potter still even the thing? Like, I watched a movie years ago, but there hasn't been a movie in years. Yeah. And it kind of surprised me that I saw this, and the footage actually looks pretty good. Looks like an RPG. What do you guys think about this? Are you guys excited, hoping that this is a real thing, or what?
Is it based off the spinoffs?
I think it's a standalone story, like RPG or something.
Oh, interesting.
So it's just in the Harry Potter universe, but it's not about Harry Potter. Maybe.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably in the game or something, but you create your own character.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I mean,
I like Todd's excitement for it, though, man.
I put a lightning bolt over your eye. Can you get that customization?
It might be. I don't know, but I was surprised. No, I thought everybody would have been wanting to talk about this the way everybody was talking about it on Twitter.
Well,
I wasn't.
Sneak footage that someone like took off screen or something like that it wasn't supposed to be released. I
think so. And then they took it down too. WB did, so it looks like that's going to be like a legit thing.
Yeah, I mean, anything that WB is involved in, they're going to make a game out of it. I mean, that's just kind of what they're going to do. They're going to maximize those licenses that they have.
Yeah, you sound so thrilled.
I'm not really into the whole Harry Potter world, so like that to me, it's not like a big thing. But I mean, realistically, I'll leave the door kind of semi-open and say that maybe the game is a lot of fun. So, I mean, if the game is good and it's by a great developer, and when we get the actual reveal and we see what it is, I'm not gonna sit here and go, oh, well, I don't like Harry Potter that much, so no. But because it could be really an in-depth game, RPG style game that's a lot of fun. So, when I saw it, I was like, I guess that's kind of cool. I see what they're doing there, but realistically, I would say that I have very little interest in it right now.
Crap, Mooch. Even at the height of like Harry Potter, when the movies were coming out and everything, I never really saw like too much hype for any of the games that came out.
The scary thing is the game sold, but they didn't really it wasn't on the radar of the core gamer. Does that make sense? Like they did sell. Like it's kind of like
Lego
Need for Speed, for example. That series sold quite a bit, but no one talked about it. Like it was just like it's one of those things. Like it was a dirty, a little secret in the game industry. Hey, we just sell a ton of these and we're good to go. So EA, I think, owned the license before, and they always did really well with the Harry Potter series. So. Different group.
I don't know. I mean, Harry Potter there are diehard fans out there, but even if this game is even if it's real, I don't see it getting a lot of hype. I mean, it might do okay, but I don't see it all gamers talking about this RPG based in Harry Potter's world and stuff like that. If it is real, I don't
said
know.
That everybody's like, you don't know what you're talking about, crap.
What?
The stuff that I heard that was good is just the way the game looked and the features and stuff that people saw that stood out to them. Not necessarily that it was set in the Harry Potter universe, because from what I know, I don't know, I'm just more interested in the movies, if anything. And I haven't even watched them in a while, but the movies are more interesting than the games ever was. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. Maybe people like it because it's an RPG.
Talk about a
what they saw,
man. Like that just came out of nowhere. Like Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Yobi Dren says he's shocked and a little hyped. It's an RPG and it's centered around a new student. You have to create a character and it's a whole new story. So I think that's cool because you break away from the license of having to do something specifically. Because some of those Harry Potter games I remember in the 360 were actually okay, right?
Yeah, but they're 1% tied to the movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So being able to do your own, like Spider-Man, right? This new Spider-Man is probably helped a lot by the fact that, they don't have to cater to any specific movie. They were able to do their own thing, So
yeah, and then they still go
high
with
school?
Sinister Six, man.
What's that, Dodd?
So basically, you can relive high school with a magic wand. Is what this game is.
Yes,
Okay, gotcha.
Doesn't that sound amazing? I remember there being
high school. In high school, I always had my magic wand in my hand. By the way,
Wow. Okay.
A great Harry Potter game on the PlayStation 1 Believe it or not, there was, and I don't remember the name of it, but maybe
First
somebody in
one?
the chat.
Because that's when it first came out.
But
Yes,
Harry
it
Potter came out in PlayStation 1 era, or I thought it was PlayStation 2 era.
No one. There was one on the PlayStation.
Really?
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. It's Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone or the Philosopher's Stone, depending on where you live. The Sorcerer's Stone in here in the U.S. But yeah, so apparently that was a real thing. I'm looking it up right now. That's why I'm saying it. Okay, so it was released on the PlayStation in 2001 and was remade 2 years later for GameCube, PS2, and Xbox in 2003.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I remember playing the hell out of that game. I liked it. I was like, hey, this is. I thought it'd be stupid, but I actually kind of enjoyed it. So yeah.
But crap, did you play it on easy though?
I don't even remember. Dude, that was so long ago. I don't even remember. I mean, I could have played it on easy. I do enjoy a casual stroll through a game. You know what I mean? So yeah, like you know me. So also, Google announced their Project Google Stream. Right, and this had very little fanfare or excitement. You figured it would have made.
Drink. Kidding.
Yeah, I just want to talk about this real quick.
No, go ahead. I'm kidding.
You know, everybody just assumed they pushed this streaming agenda or whatever, and you would figure Google would be shouting about this from the treetops or something, and they're just like, "Hey, we got this thing. You can try out Assassin's Creed, play it in your browser. I guess, you know, you need 25 megs down." Whatever, you know, it was like wasn't a big deal at all, you know, like you would expect it
like beta. I thought is what it was.
Well, you could sign up for it. Gotcha. Right, yeah. But nobody was really like, everybody was just like,
it's the game plan, man. It's the
you know what I mean? Like I was just kind of surprised by just how like I don't know, like for me, I feel like most hardcore gamers specifically have no interest in this, you know, and I'm like playing a game in your browser. That's not even something that's going to attract console gamers. Like they don't want to sit and play on a browser. You know what I mean? Like, so this is a little bit weird. Like, Don, what's your take on this? Like, what do you think, Don?
Streaming is just for a different audience. That's not the core gaming audience. It's about expanding. You don't make as much money off it, but you can make money if you have the infrastructure to do it right. And you're just trying to reach a wider audience. So I mean, that's the reason why if someone has some sort of streaming service like Ubisoft will be on board along with local hardware. I mean, there's going to be a shared experience there in regards to that, and that's how I 100% feel. Not only this generation, several generations down the road, is just you can't get away. You can't put a server in someone's backyard. You can do everything you can to try to help everything out, and you can lessen that gap. And sure, you can lessen that gap, and there definitely can be improvements. But there's a certain segment of gamers that they're just not going to do streaming just because it's not going to be the same quality experience that you would have on local hardware under your television.
Yeah. You know, and when I was reading that, they were like, yeah, there is a lot of problems. Like people are used to streaming, TV shows and movies, and they're okay with it buffering for a minute at the beginning. But when you're playing a game and it has to have that one-to-one reaction, that's a little bit different. So, and I tend to agree with that. I kind of wanted your take just because, it was something that came up and you would figure everybody would really be talking about it. But really, most people were just kind of yawning about it.
Well, it's kind of weird because it's Google, right? Like, so they're not known in the gaming space as much as like, a PlayStation or an Xbox. So, imagine if PlayStation announced their new streaming service, the sequel to whatever they have right now, right?
Yeah.
People are going to, and then they promise a bunch of things. And if they don't deliver on those promises, boom, it's dead again. Xbox has an opportunity to kind of do it right the first time by holding back because there's a certain expectation of a gamer. But I think one of the first thing you do is like, we all grew up like from the 8-bit era to now. Anytime the game kind of screws up, how pissed do gamers get? They get upset like when the controls get taken away from them. So the latency thing is always going to be an issue with streaming. It's just, they can do better. I mean, I'm not saying that they shouldn't strive to do better. And I think there are some things I believe where we're going to see the huge improvements is in, I would say, more of a hybrid model where it's still your dedicated console, but some things are offloaded into the cloud and come back. So it's more of an aid, kind of like a hard drive or or something like that is the way I would kind of look at it, where we're going to see the best performance in regards to all this cloud stuff. But
so like Crackdown cloud style.
Well, that would be one of them. AI would be one of them. Physics.
I would just say Gears with horde mode.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's AI driven, right? So, those sort of things we can see huge improvements, because even with the most powerful CPUs today, they kind of suck.
Yeah.
Just to be honest with you,
I think Google's taking a kind of a break out of what Phil was saying when he said there's 2 billion gamers out there. We want to kind of reach everybody. Like, the thing about it is, if I'm Don, I'm excited about it, because here's the deal. Look at the game they're testing out, right? Assassin's Creed, a single player game. So a lot of people don't have consoles, but they have a PC. They have decent internet. They don't have a graphics card that's insane, but they have a decent internet speed and they have a decent PC. They'll go ahead and grab these games. They'll play them at resolutions that no hardcore gamer would ever want to put their eyes on. But for a casual gamer, they don't know or care.
It's a different audience, right? Like, they don't care.
Different audience. They don't know. Yeah, they don't know what we're talking about. They think 720p is the world.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people that don't turn their televisions into game mode, right? Like, there's different groups, and I think we always kind of look within the blinders of how we look at things. I'm saying there is a huge segment of people that look at games like we do to what's already out there today, and it's going to continue to grow. I think that segment's going to continue to grow.
Guys, you are looking way too deep into a surface thing right now. Look at when it comes to people not making a big deal out of it. It's like Don said before, Google. People don't recognize them in the gaming space. But what Google is doing here, they have a platform where they make a lot of money on and do whatever the hell they want to do on. And that's their browser, their Google browser. They are testing out their streaming and stuff like that for when they do jump into the console space. They want to see exactly what they're going to do, how they're going to do it. And they're using their own platform to test things out. They're not making a big deal out of it, because on their end, they're just kind of working their structure.
It's beta stages right now.
Yeah, and how they're going to approach their getting into the console space and stuff like that. So that's why I don't
know. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong, because there's always. I mean, they can always put out hardware. They're one of the richest companies. They can do whatever they want. But Don, I don't think that's where you were going. I think their future is strictly streaming.
Me and Bot have different views on streaming for sure. In regards to that, I just think that both audiences are going to grow, and obviously
they're not going to hang their hat on browser streaming, though. I'm telling you, they're not doing that. This is a test for something else coming in the future.
So you're saying, okay,
XBot, a thing like wireless charging 10 years ago sounded like something out of Star Wars, and now we're trying to get rid of as many wires as possible. So to say that they're going to try and focus on something that no longer requires hardware, and you're going to be able to do over something you already have in your home, it sounds very something like a Fortune 500 company would try to do.
But I'm more actually, because you think the future is all streaming, and if you're
I think that's where these companies want to go. I definitely go on record saying all that.
Yeah, so you have that view, and I have a different view. But so this is where I'm a little bit confused. So you think Google's going to do physical hardware?
Yeah, I do. I think
so.
I think they're going to do that. Whether it's something like the Scarlet Cloud that we've been hearing about on Xbox's side, maybe something similar to that, and they're just they're using their browser, because look at
that's
this.
Still streaming though.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a quote unquote box coming, but that box can't do
it's a streaming box. Yeah,
right.
It might have some hardware in it to really kind of decrease latency and stuff like that,
and something to connect via Wi-Fi.
Yeah, okay, I'll buy that. I'll buy that Xbox.
He'll buy that for $1.
I'll buy that for $1.
But see, the reason why I'm not hanging my hat on streaming through a browser is because a lot of people, we have computers in our homes, but when when it comes down to it and they look at stuff on the internet, they're on their phones. That is the big place where people interact with Google and stuff like that as well. So they would have to make the game even playable on a touchscreen on the phone as well. So that's why I don't think they're really hanging their hat on that whole thing. And this is a test for something in the future.
Here's the real problem with all this streaming stuff. All these companies want to cut. It seems like, especially Ubisoft, because they talk about streaming a lot. Seems like they want to cut out the middlemen. You know what I mean? So
that's the goal. Yeah, no one wants to be dependent.
Absolutely.
This is where I think where Xbox theory holds water. No one wants to be dependent on other companies, but these big companies create these things that force other companies to be dependent on them. Right? There's certain things that Google is totally dependent on Microsoft, and Apple's dependent on Google, and there's patents being, everyone's trying to find a way around them, and technologies and that sort of thing. So the reason why there's a race, there's a push towards streaming is if someone can get it to work decently. I'm not saying the new norm, but decently, and they can get a wider audience. What happens is these game companies, these publishers, are now dependent on that service.
Yeah.
So where say like an EA, if they were going to invest in their own streaming technology, air quotes, they're trying to cut out Microsoft or Sony out of the equation, or Google, in regards to that. So I don't know if gamers going to subscribe to that model, because I think it made me feel like a little bit of a mess. I think especially console gamers, they prefer some sort of structure. In regards to that, but that's the thought process. I mean, they're just trying to cut out that dependency on one another, but harsh reality is just going to have to depend on somebody no matter what you do.
Yeah, like I see that's what I'm saying. Like for me personally, you could tell EA specifically, they really want to kind of cut out the middlemen, and I think that's not going to fly so much. Like nobody wants to, like, I think most gamers, if not all gamers, will agree they don't want to pay subscription fees to 20 different companies, right? It's like right now, it's like most people pick Netflix or whatever, or Hulu, and it's like most people only want the one. Like imagine where you have to get EA subscription to play their games, Microsoft's to play theirs, Sony's
look at PC.
Ew. Look at PC. No thanks.
Like, so you look at Steam. Steam is the main staple for PC, right?
Yeah.
And every time when something's just released on Origins or some of these other services that are directly through that publisher, there's always a backlash. There's always a backlash, and because people are invested in their Steam library and having their games there, which is kind of weird to me because they brag about an open platform, but then don't use it as an open platform. But that's kind of what goes on there, right? So people have a hard time switching over to something. It's just like the same thing with, like, you look at Google, you're like, okay, cool, I can play Assassin's Creed. Hey, maybe I don't care about the latency issues or all the other things that can come up with streaming. The same token, I don't get achievements.
Yeah.
So
you might not be able to play with your friends or chat with your friends, right?
Exactly. So what these companies got, they have an ecosystem, and this is just as much as part of the war is the hardware that's under your television, or the online service you have is they have an ecosystem, and you're invested. They don't want you to leave the ecosystem. They want you to be dependent on it. And that's kind of the general idea of all these sort of companies. So it's really hard for anyone when they're trying to break out of those ecosystems and try to get consumers to go a different route. It becomes a little bit more difficult.
Yeah. Very, very interesting points there, Don. And hey, look at that. I got a gift from Mooch 48 seconds ago.
No, crap, I gotta say, I looked at the time. I looked at the time, and it was 9:30. I was like, "Where the hell did an hour and a half go?" It
flies by, man. It does. And I tell you what, that's what I like about the show, man. I wouldn't want to keep doing it if it sucked, and if it, and if it was boring and we weren't having fun and couldn't have a good topics of conversations. Like last week was like, Mooch and Showstopper, Hoove Clickers, they were going, they were going back and forth, and I thought that was awesome. This week we had the Don on, and he could get real technical with some of the stuff, the questions that I had, and that's cool too, because we all got to chime in with that stuff, and that's great. Really look forward to that, and the show it varies, so I like that. Salty will be back next week, and we welcome him back and stuff like that. So let's do some outros. Mooch, what the hell is going on, man?
Well, we've got Crossfire, 7 p.m. Eastern Time on my channel, the MOH 78. Definitely check it out. It'll be fun. We have a couple of special guests. And then we do have an MC evenings. Could be MC mornings. We're not sure yet.
Yeah. Look,
could be Sunday morning.
It's a work in progress, folks. We're trying to.
That's right.
We're trying to do some stuff, and it's taking a little bit more time to get everything down. But yeah, yes, boom.
Check out that Patreon.
Yes. Check out the Patreon and support us there, because man,
yes.
We desperately need it.
We could use your help, folks. Trust me, the show is
dream.
That's right. $1 and a dream. MNC evenings will still be on. Yes.
So we do appreciate it, and yeah, don't forget Crossfire for sure Friday. We appreciate that as well. Yes. Foxy, what do you got going on?
Nothing much. Making videos here and there. Actually, I have an idea for my next video, so keep an eye on that, guys. Subscribe if you can.
Foxy's love of Mustangs. I can see it now.
Oh man, I'm just gonna show all the Mustangs from Forza. Get ready, guys. They're all beautiful. But yeah, just playing a lot of Tomb Raider, or actually finishing up Tomb Raider, playing Forza. Probably gonna jump into Life is Strange, and then who knows after that? Because well, I gotta wait for Battlefield, so I don't know what's happening there, guys. They better fix that shit. But yeah, follow me on Twitter if you want some Foxy deals. Okay, bye.
All right, and Xbot, Aimbot, Destiny Bot, what's up? Where can people find you?
Not too much, man. I keep it really simple. If you want to follow me on Twitter, Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, when I'm on there, it's all Xbox 448, and of course this Saturday we do have the next podcast. Showstopper did win the gameplay, so come back and check it out again. And all that gold graphic around it to really show that he won last week. And then, of course, after that, you will be voting for Xbox gameplay. But yeah, that's the Saturday on my channel, 7 p.m. Eastern. I had a blast, man.
Nice, man. I appreciate you coming on, man, for sure. The Don, what's up, man? What do you got going on?
Not a whole lot right now. I'm sure we're doing Devin the Gamer next week, and obviously I'm on next podcast. So if you want to see some mud trucks, just tune in, and I'll have that playing.
We all want to see mud trucks. That's what we live for. Hey, everybody, hit
I don't know about that, but okay.
Hey, we love mud trucks. Everyone.
More Battletoads, please.
But yes, Battletoads is fine too.
I actually had a Battletoads remix that I was working on, and I could finish that.
Exactly. Hey, everybody hit that like button. We're very close to 250. I would appreciate it. And we'll catch you guys back here next time. Have a good time gaming and all that kind of good stuff. Really appreciate you guys' support. And we'll catch you next time. Later.